Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we have a really chilling story shared by a listener about his family's experience.
Yeah, this one's pretty intense. It involves a hotel stay in Chiang Mai. And, well, things got very strange very quickly. It seems like something unsettling latched onto them.
Right, and the account we're working from, it's quite detailed, isn't it? Came via an online channel.
Exactly. It's based on the father's recounting his name as Nielin Konin and what his wife, Konaso, and their two young daughters, Hugan and Ka, went through. So it's basically their firsthand experiences.
And our goal here is to, unpack what happened. Look at the sequence of events, especially from the daughter's perspectives. Kids often have such a raw take on things.
Definitely. And I know the father, he really stresses that he believes them completely. Children don't lie about this kind of thing, he says.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's unpack this story.
So the people on the trip were Lakan, the mom, her two daughters, Tanho Khan, who was 11, and then Khan, the younger one, just 9 years old.
And there was a friend too?
Yes, Pat Khan's friend. The girls called her Khanis. The father, she wasn't there. He was working abroad at the time. So this is all from the mom and daughter's perspective, leader told to him.
Got it. And the trip itself? Just a regular vacation?
Pretty standard, yeah. Planned for 5 days, 4 nights in Chiang Mai. They flew from Bangkok, got a rental car at the airport, and drove straight to the hotel to check in.
And the hotel. Anything obviously weird about it from the start?
Apparently not. It was in a sort of busy area near universities, hospitals. Looked normal outside. Inside, it was actually quite nicely decorated, northern Thai style. Not a budget place either. Cost several thousand baht a night, the source mentioned.
Okay, so looks can be deceiving. They had 2 rooms.
Yeah, booked 2 right next to each other. Kani stayed with the older daughter in one room, and Kana stayed with Nada, the younger one, in the room next door.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And the first day was just normal tourist stuff.
Totally. Checked in, unpacked, went sightseeing. In the evening, Sydney and Pakistan met up with some old friends, had dinner, maybe a bit of wine. Got back to the hotel around 8 p.m.
So first night, everyone's tired. Maybe the adults a little tipsy from the wine.
Right? They just went to their separate rooms, showered, got ready for bed, and crashed. Tired from traveling and everything.
And the older daughter, the night was fine.
Completely fine. Slept right through, no problems. But in the other room, with Settingo and little Kadakut, that's where things started.
Okay, here we go. What happened to Siti Herchifag? She's only 9.
Yeah. She woke up suddenly. It was 3:30 a.m. And the first thing she saw, the room was just full of this thick white fog.
Fog, like actual fog inside the room.
That's what she described. So thick she couldn't see anything else. Just this dense, swirling mist. Can you imagine waking up to that?
No way. That's terrifying. What did she do?
She freaked out, obviously. Closed her eyes tight. Opened them again. Fog was still there. Closed them again. Started praying. Just reciting any prayers she could remember, like any kid would.
Did it work? Did the fog go away?
Eventually, yeah. After some time, she opened her eyes again, and it was gone. The room just looked normal.
Okay. So the fog disappears, but she must have been terrified still. Did she try to wake times there?
Absolutely. She needed comfort. She tried shaking Than awake, wanted to tell her what happened, maybe just have her stay awake with her. But Kanon was really groggy, probably from the wine and tiredness.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she just sort of mumbled and fell right back asleep. So No Flicon was basically alone with this fear.
That's awful. Poor kid. What then?
She was really scared, but she decided to try and sleep again. She turned over to face Saidhan, tried to get as close as possible, maybe for some feeling of safety. And she did manage to drift off again for a little while.
But something else happened.
She woke up again. This time, it was a sound, heavy breathing. And not just a sound, she felt it. Like cold breath right on the back of her neck near her ear.
Oh, that's incredibly creepy. Like someone was right there.
Exactly. Like someone was lying right down behind her in the bed, breathing heavily on her. Sleepiness was completely gone now, just pure fear.
Did she try to move away?
Yeah, she tried to sort of inch towards the edge of the bed, away from the breathing. But the scary part, it felt like whatever was behind her was inching closer too, following her movements, staying right there.
That's nightmare fuel. How did it stop?
Eventually, the breathing sound and the cold feeling just faded away. Gone. She lay there, probably frozen stiff for a bit, but she knew she had to wake Pumfan this time, really wake her up.
So she braces herself, opens her eyes.
And bam, she sees her. A woman. standing right there in the space between the two single beds. And she wasn't just standing, she was leaning down towards Chiunas.
You could actually see this woman in the dark.
Well, there was some dim light from a bedside lamp, enough to see her. And the detail that stuck out, the one mentioned specifically, were her eyes. She said the woman had huge eyes, like as big as large chicken eggs.
Whoa. Eyes like chicken eggs. That's specific and deeply unsettling. I mean, what does a 9-year-old do when they see that?
Seeing that, even for just a few seconds, it just broke her. Pure terror. She screamed, like top of her lungs screaming, and then just started crying uncontrollably. Loud, hysterical crying.
Okay, that must have woken Dusko up for real.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Tangda jolted awake, completely startled, asking, "What's wrong? What happened?" And Khan, kind of through her sobs, just managed to get out that she saw a woman right there between the beds.
How did Kim handle that? She must have been freaked out too.
Oh, for sure. The source says, Madam Khan was startled, but she tried to put it down. Suggested maybe it was a nightmare because they're in a strange place. Classic adult response, right?
Yeah, trying to rationalize it. Did she offer to take her to her mom?
She did. She asked if Elias Methel wanted to go to her mom's room, and desperately did. So Dessa took her next door to Tinta's room and knocked.
Did that thigh open up?
No. Then it must have been sleeping really deeply, maybe the exhaustion, the wine. She just didn't wake up, didn't open the door.
So they couldn't even get refuge in the other room. They had to go back.
Had to. They went back to their original room, probably, despite probably being scared herself, tried to be strong for her, comforted her, told her not to be scared, promised she'd stay awake with her this time.
Did they manage to sleep after that?
Eventually, yeah. They both somehow managed to get a bit more sleep before morning finally came. But what a terrifying night, especially for apart.
Seriously. And it raises that big question. Was it just that room or something else going on?
Well, the next morning, everyone gets up. They try to stick to their plan, go out for breakfast at some famous place in Chiang Mai. And Neko, Asko asks casually, "How did you guys sleep?"
And gets an earful, I bet.
Exactly. Instead of find Kun and have to tell her everything, the fog, the breathing, the thing that they're seeing the woman with the huge eyes, the whole terrifying ordeal.
How did Dana Tang react knowing she and Prun and Kun slept perfectly fine next door?
Well, that contrast was stark. Nothing weird happened in their room at all. No sounds, no sights, nothing.
So the immediate thought is, okay, it must be the room Kanoka and Tengkamata were in.
Right. That was their logical conclusion. Intan and Dog talked about it and decided they definitely needed to ask the hotel to change that room when they got back.
Did they do anything else that day? Maybe try to calm Monday down?
Yeah, to help her feel better and maybe seeking some positive vibes, they spent the day visiting temples.
Makes sense. Then back to the hotel.
Back in the evening. And Inkanang went straight to the front desk. The source says she was pretty direct, told them her daughter couldn't sleep. She saw a ghost in the room.
Okay, now this is interesting. How did the hotel staff react to being told there's a ghost in their room?
This is where it gets a bit strange. According to the source, the staff didn't seem surprised. Like, at all. No shock, no disbelief, no questioning her.
Really? They just accepted it?
Pretty much. They just readily agreed to change the room. No argument, no hesitation. Just, okay, we'll move you.
Wow. That immediate agreement. It feels like they might have heard this before.
Doesn't it? It definitely suggests they might know something, or at least aren't ruling it out. It adds this whole other layer of creepiness, like, what is going on in this place?
Totally. So, new room. How did they rearrange the sleeping situation now? Darren Abs when he terrified to sleep alone with the Chan again.
Yeah, she was adamant. She wanted to sleep with her mom and her older sister. So they asked the hotel for an extra bed, but put it in Kunkel's original room, the one they thought was safe, where nothing had happened the first night.
Okay. So the safe room now has a Tunji Young and Tingu Sokam kind of grabbed it. I said also moved into the new different room all by herself. All right, night 2. 3 of them in the supposedly safe room. How did that go?
Well, for Tisashi, it seemed to work. Being squished between her mom and sister, she felt safer, apparently, and slept soundly right through the night.
Okay, so maybe moving her did solve it for her, but something tells me that's not the end of the story.
You got it. Because while Didar slept, the activity didn't stop, it just shifted. This time it was the older sister. Remember, she'd heard a scary story.
Right, so she was probably already on edge.
Exactly. She was anxious, having trouble sleeping anyway, and then around midnight she woke up.
What did she experience? Was it visual like her sister's?
No, this was auditory mostly. First, she heard sounds, like someone walking. Back and forth, back and forth. She wasn't sure if it was inside the room or just outside, but it was loud enough to be distinct and unsettling.
Just walking.
No, then came knocking, but soft, rapid knocking on the door, like a quick tapping. Late Ethani, the source describes it.
Oh, man. Knowing what her sister went through, how did I gonna react?
Same way her sister did initially. Pure fear. She was too scared to open her eyes. Just lay there completely still, listening.
Did the sounds change?
Yeah. The walking and the knocking stopped after a while, but then they were replaced by the sound of whispering, like multiple people whispering softly. She couldn't understand what they were saying, just a murmur of voices.
Whispering is almost worse sometimes.
Yeah.
So close, but you can't make it out. What did she do?
Tried to ignore it, tried to force herself back to sleep, but no luck. She just had to lie there listening until the whispering eventually faded away and it was quiet again.
How did she cope after that?
Once it was finally quiet, she quietly reached for her phone in the dark. She put on a movie, just watched it on her phone as a distraction until sheer exhaustion finally took over and she fell asleep.
So the same room that was fine the first night is definitely not fine the second night. It's like whatever it is.
Yeah.
It shifted focus to that.
It really seems that way. And interestingly, the next morning, day 3, Becca Fate, she didn't say anything. Kept the whole experience to herself.
Really? What do you think? Maybe didn't want to scare everyone else, especially since Takasora had slept okay.
Possibly. So the family kind of assumed the problem was solved because Discado was fine in the new arrangement. They actually had a pretty normal, happy day 3 sightseeing, cafes, just enjoying the trip.
A bit of calm before the storm, maybe.
Seems like it. They came back tired that evening. And night 3 was completely quiet. Nothing happened. Everyone slept soundly, totally exhausted.
Okay, one peaceful night. Maybe it was over.
You'd hope so. Day 4 was their last full day. They packed it with activities, went to lots of places, had dinner, came back to the hotel for their final night, really worn out.
Ready to sleep and go home.
Exactly. Everyone fell asleep fast, but it wasn't over for Takashi. Around 11 p.m., final night, she woke up again.
Oh no, not again. What was it this time? More sounds.
Something much more direct, much more personal. She heard a voice, a clear, high-pitched voice calling her name.
Calling her name. What did it say?
It was calling...
Which translates roughly to tip. Tip. Tippy dear. Open your eyes. Tip. Using a familiar, almost affectionate tone, but demanding she open her eyes.
That is absolutely terrifying, directly interacting.
She was paralyzed with fear, didn't dare open her eyes, didn't make a sound, just lay there frozen, praying silently, tears streaming down her face.
Did the voice just keep calling her?
It did, for a while, but then it changed. The voice shifted into this high-pitched, mocking laugh, as if it knew she was terrified and was, like, amused by it.
Mocking her? That feels so malicious, pure psychological torment. Completely. And she described feeling physically paralyzed, like her whole body was stiff. She couldn't move a muscle, tried to call out for her mom, who was right there in the room, but only these muffled little sounds came out. Couldn't even pull the blanket up over her head.
Just trapped, helpless.
Just had to endure it, lying there, frozen, listening to her name being called, followed by that awful laughter for what felt like forever. Eventually, just like the previous time, the sheer exhaustion and terror overwhelmed her and she fell asleep.
What a horrifying end to their vacation. I can't even imagine.
The final morning, as you can guess, Tortan couldn't keep it inside anymore. First thing, she burst into tears telling her mom about everything that happened, saying she was haunted.
And Kaofan's reaction this time. Hearing her other daughter now had this intense experience in the room she'd been fine in.
Total shock and confusion. She'd assumed that room was okay. Now both daughters had terrifying experiences, and it seemed to follow them or target them specifically, regardless of the room. She was fine, but they weren't. It was deeply unnerving for her.
Understandably, I bet she just wanted out of there. Fast.
Immediately, she was like, okay, we are leaving now. Rushed everyone to pack, shower, get checked out as fast as possible.
Did she confront the staff one last time during checkout?
She did. She asked them straight up, Does strange stuff happen here? Because we've had weird things happen almost every night.
And their response, still denying it.
Still denied it. Nothing unusual happens there. But the source makes a point of saying their facial expressions looked, well, shifty. Suspicious. I can put them together. But like they were hiding something, not looking her in the eye.
Yeah, that tracks with the earlier reaction. They know something. So we didn't push it.
No, probably just wanted to get her kids away from there. But she didn't go straight to the airport.
Where did they go?
Straight to a temple in the Seraphi district for, like, a spiritual cleansing.
A very understandable next step after all that.
Yeah, they made merit, gave offerings, and specifically asked a monk to sprinkle them with holy water, to ward off any bad energy or anything that might have attached itself.
Did the monk offer any insights?
He did, actually. As he was sprinkling the water, he spoke directly to Haikinin Inkar. He told them they were safe now, that nothing could burn them anymore.
Wow. That must have been incredibly comforting for them to hear from him.
Immensely. The source says after the holy water and the monk's words, the girls and Fita all felt this wave of relief, a sense of peace finally washing over them.
Thank goodness. So after the temple.
Then they went to the airport, returned the car, and flew back to Bangkok, finally heading home.
And once they were home and the Kaidigam returned, the girls told him everything.
Yes. They recounted their individual stories, first to their mom again, and then laid it all out for their dad when he got back from his work trip.
How did Bhantinu, the father, hearing this secondhand, react?
He was deeply scared for them, really worried about what they'd endured, but also his belief in them was unwavering.
He stuck by that children don't lie about this.
Absolutely. He emphasized it again. He fully believes his daughters, and needless to say, they have absolutely zero intention of ever going back to that hotel. Ever.
I don't blame them one bit. The person who shared this story, the original source, they really underscore how terrifying this must have been, right?
Yeah.
Especially being so young.
For sure. It's one thing to hear ghost stories, but to be 9 years old and see those eyes, or feel that breath, or be 11 and hear your name called by something unseen that then laughs at your fear, that's trauma.
Yeah, the source presenter really believes it's something that will stick with those girls for a very, very long time. And echoes the father. These kids weren't making this up. The fear was real.
This story really hits home, doesn't it? That difference between just hearing about something scary and actually living through it makes you think about, the unseen world, how vulnerable you can feel, especially in places you don't know.
Definitely. Just try putting yourself in their shoes for a second. Waking up to that fog.
Yeah.
Feeling that cold breath. Seeing those eyes. Or hearing that voice call your name. Then laugh. It's chilling.
Truly a disturbing account. The way the experiences span multiple nights seemed to shift focus between the daughters and manifested in such different ways: fog, presence, figure, sounds, voice, laughter. It's a lot.
And those specific, vivid details the girls reported, the egg-sized eyes, the rapid knocking, the whispering, that high-pitched voice, and mocking laughter. Those are the images and sounds that really linger, that make it feel so real and terrifying.
It definitely leaves you with unsettling questions. Was it the hotel itself? Is it just a place with issues? Or was something specifically drawn to this family, maybe to the children's sensitivity? Why did it seem to move rooms or change who it focused on?
A lot to ponder. A really unsettling deep dive into one family's frightening experience. We hope you found this recounting interesting, maybe even a little spine-chilling.
And hey, if you appreciate these kinds of stories and deep dives into the strange and unexplained, do us a favor, hit that like button, share this with someone who enjoys a good scare, and subscribe to the channel Horror Docs so you don't miss the next one.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time, try not to think too much about what might be standing between the beds.